Hey everybody! Recently I watched this video right here from the Aristocratic Utensil. I suppose this will be in response to it and someone else that I'll mention in a second. I'll give you the gist of what happened and then you can check out the original video for yourselves if you wish. It's pretty short and sweet, so it won't take much of your time. He is responding to V in it, which is in relation to Grummz. In V's video, he defends the fact that Grummz should be able to do what he does, look into, report and share information in regards to how fucked up the game industry is. V also defends the fact that he should be able to make use of Grummz information without constant comments showering down on him with stuff like, "Oh, Grummz is this, Grummz is that, do you disavow?"
But do you disavow? Do you disavow? How can you follow? How can you follow this person? Why do you not disavow? Look at Asmongold. Look at his opinions. Do you disavow? Look at Grummz. Look what he said. How can he say that? How can he be allowed to say that? Why do you not disavow? I don't disavow shit. I will tell you what is happening, and I'll try to explain it because I keep getting people that usually never contact me, like new subscribers, and they're like, well, look what Grummz did. Look what he did. Do you not disavow?
As if it was relevant at all. After all, information is information. Doesn't matter what the source is from that information, as long as the information is correct, then it should be used. The utensil takes no issue with this concept, but goes in on Grummz for supposedly not doing anything. In the aristocrat's view, people who spend all day harping on about the industry, talking about every new instance of a DEI injection or an ugly character or whatever, aren't really doing anything productive, and not buying these games equates to doing nothing, which he says in direct reference to one of Grummz's supposed ideas that we should all just stop buying video games for 2 years, which I also disagree with. Just buy what's good, reject what's bad. It's useless to try and get these weird little ideas of like, oh, let's just do this for 2 years, like it's unrealistic, nobody's really going to do it and it's needless. But the idea that talking about these topics and rejecting to buy these bad games does nothing is also completely unrealistic, and it's just wrong. Concord Studio just got shut down, for example. If people weren't mocking the hell out of it and rejecting to buy it, it would still be around. Probably ready to release a non-binary character DLC package for Halloween. Furthermore, the utensil says that waking up the normies is useless because the normies are powerless sheep, and finishes up by crediting V for being better than Grummz because at least V has developed his own game, whereas Grummz has left Blizzard like 10 years ago and spent an entire decade doing nothing but complaining. That's about the long and short of it. Again, feel free to have a look at it. Link will be in the description for both the utensil's video as well as V's video. I disagree with nearly everything that the utensil said in regards to this matter, and it reminded me of a video that I watched a while back from someone who called out Andy Pants and revealed a bunch of information in regards to him being a grifter with several accounts. In the video, he made a similar argument, albeit from a slightly different and more derogatory perspective, I suppose, saying that the supposed content creators who talk about this stuff are just grifters feeding off of people's anger and spend their entire lives bitching about these issues but never actually doing anything, never uplifting supposed right-leaning voices in the industry, not getting into game development to exact a right-wing change from within, etc. Here's a clip of it.
They never promote or encourage making anything better in any way. In this particular case, let's focus on gaming. Don't you find it a little bit suspect that these supposedly conservative gaming content creators never encourage their conservative viewers to get into game development? They bitch about left-leaning game developers all day long, but they will never try to promote or inspire change. They condemn left-leaning voices, but will never promote and uplift right-leaning ones. Because of course, why spend your time and money learning how to game dev and making the video games you want to see in the industry when you can be spending all your time and money watching their videos and getting mad about the industry? For the love of God, treat yourselves better.
When I first heard it, I thought it was complete drivel. I disagreed with it, and I disagree with what the utensil said as well. There are no right-leaning voices to uphold, and there are no avenues for actual right-leaning developers to get into the industry and be the change that they want to see in the world. I don't want to be that guy generalizing an entire section of an industry by saying that far leftists are running the entire gaming industry, but one thing we have to admit is that they're the ones in charge right now, or at the very least, their ideology is, and it is deeply ingrained within. We have no connection or power whatsoever when it comes to the games that are being made in the AAA space. The only thing we can actually do is remain informed and reject buying the dog shit that they put out and try to force us to accept as the norm for the content going forward. If the Utensil or anyone else at all have any better ideas, I'm sure that Grummz and anyone listening would be happy to hear it. But as of this moment, and from the content of the video, there's really nothing there. Only an acknowledgement that Grummz doesn't do shit, and that complaining about it and not buying the games doesn't do much of anything either. The thing is, what could Grummz realistically do, or anyone else wanting to exact this change, when they are blacklisted? We've got people running studios keeping white people out of them, like this lady right here.
I have a team of 21 right now for Validate. It's a pretty big team. It's a crazy big team for indie games. But who is your team? Validate has a team of mostly all people of color. We have no white people on our team. I did that because I wanted to create a safe environment. And I know the best way for an environment to be safe is to be around people who are just like me. And I'm not saying that white people in the industry are creating unsafe environments. I'm not saying that. That is not what I'm saying. I am saying that sometimes it is hard to work with white people because they think that something may be okay, but it was really a microaggression. And no one wants to deal with that while they're trying to make a game that they love.
Who, instead of getting penalized for her racist comments, only ended up getting a nice promotion in her career to go work on the Black Panther game at EA. We've got studios diving headfirst into DEI policies and environments within their offices, getting their employees to put their pronouns in their bios and shit. This is pretty much how it works within the industry, at least at this higher level, where this is not only allowed but financially and morally rewarded. So just imagine what people would fucking do if they saw a job application from Grummz, or a project pitch to a publisher from Grummz or anyone else who associates with him, or or his ideas, of course, or the reaction at the prospect of opening up his own studio if he even had the money to do so. As a funny little aside, think of what happened with Gina Carano. This woman goes to work on a sunny day, already with a bunch of assholes at Disney hating her for having some common right-wing opinions online. She gets told to put her pronouns in her bio. She puts beep bop boop, like, that's a nice little Star Wars joke for you guys. And then Wait. Everyone loses their shit. Her co-star, Pedro Pascal, gives her a condescending talk about the struggles of non-binary people, like, No, Gina, you don't understand. You see, pronouns to us are no big deal because we have been blessed with the privilege of being cisgénero. Me está escuchando? These poor people, they wake up every day and they scream. Because they wake up under the crushing weight of a patriarchal, heteronormative, binary biased society, and they don't even know who the fuck they are. And then Gina is like, oh, okay, sorry or whatever. But then there wasn't even enough. And in comes Darth Kathleen Canadius. She comes out like, I want this fucking cow railroaded. I want her out. I want her to feel pain. And so she gets like a fucking full assembly of non-binary people and shit like that to come and yell at Gina Carano on a fucking Zoom call as if that was normal. And then she ultimately gets fired. Like, this is the climate that dominates these industries. You either fit into the mold or you get destroyed. But let's get back on topic, and let's say that he actually did make his own little game like V did, and the myriad of other indie developers out there that are making their own stuff. How are these tiny games supposed to be able to impact the direction of the AAA industry? I don't know the full scoop on Grummz at all. The Utensil mentioned some shady shit. I don't mind learning about it, but at the moment the only relevant thing to me is whether or not the information he provides is valuable. I only know him because of the stuff that he reports on. I don't know anything else about him. Anyone at all that is breaking stories or at the very least bringing them to public knowledge and spreading awareness is a great help, and pretty much what anyone can do at this particular moment. Seriously, what other avenues are there? Making an indie game like V is not going to do shit. The other things I just mentioned will never work either. This industry gets rid of anyone that doesn't suit their ideology. You're either fully in the activism train or you are folding and doing exactly what they tell you. You meet all the quotas that they require, you work with whatever consultant companies that they demand, follow all the guidelines that they lay out, hire whoever the fuck they want you to hire, and be at your utmost best behavior, no matter how robotic it may be, or you're out. Hell, if you're white and a man, you might actually be out before they even assess your level of competence and compliance in any of these other areas. We even have studios like CD Projekt Red, which I never would imagine getting into this shit, making programs where they only recruit women to get into game development school. They don't even want the men getting in. And even if by some miracle Grummz or anyone else managed to sneak themselves into a AA studio, like a smaller budget studio of some kind, and started working on a game, and maybe got a Kickstarter sort of thing going, and got the monetary support from the Intergalactic Council of Conservative Gamers or something, his game and studio would still be under heavy scrutiny and attack from the media, just as they attacked Black Myth Wukong, Stellar Blade, etc. But let's say that those attacks did not work and the game still releases to great success. Grummz makes so much money that despite not having access to the same ESG grants, government funds or BlackRock support that all the other studios have, he still manages to grow the company, gets another couple of teams working on some more games, even manages to hire a few other people like himself who, instead of doing anything productive by the aristocrat standards, have only been reporting on all of this woke garbage infesting the industry. And now he's got a couple of other great games cooking. Even if this wildly unlikely hypothetical was to happen, the only thing that he managed to do was send the same message that the industry continues to ignore, that DEI-ridden garbage from activist-infested studios is not what the wider gaming audiences want and is not what sells. What they want is good games devoid of
the message.
And so, as usual, nothing changes either. Off they go back to what they have been doing all this time, ignoring us and sticking to their ideological takeover. And pretty much the only good thing that we could get out of it was a couple of better, smaller games, while the main market is still fucked. And that's if they were better, because to be honest, I don't want someone so driven by the culture war to be making games either. The end goal here should be games devoid of any of this crap. Not the same type of crap, but with heavily charged overt messaging from the other side. The same way that Dragon Age Veilguard spends its budget and focus making sure that we all know about fucking gender ambiguity, pronoun use, and how to take proper accountability for misgendering someone. I wouldn't want someone like Grummz as a game director spending his budget and focus potentially making the most lavishly glorious jiggle physics, even though of course that would at least give us something to look at. I don't have any hostile intentions with this video whatsoever towards any of these parties, of course. I simply believe that there is a huge degree of underestimation of how valuable the power of information is. For the vast majority of us, this is all that we have. The information, our voices, and of course the power to not buy the dog shit that they're selling up until the point that they either stop trying to force it into the video games or shut down their studios. We can't even do anything when it comes to legislation. About a decade ago, when predatory monetization was going wild, that was something that was actually viable because of its close ties to gambling. But this? I don't really see any other way around it, and I am thankful to anyone who participates in moderate discourse on the matter and who breaks stories in regards to these things and spreads awareness. Not only does it get people who used to be quote-unquote normies to become informed about all of this bullshit going on, but it also gives people more motivation to speak out, if for nothing else then at least for knowing that they are not alone. It has been so beaten down onto us, into our heads, that there is only one way to think, and any other thought that breaks away from that programming is bigotry, or as V likes to say, fascismus. That they don't even bother to fucking talk about any of this stuff because they don't want to look like one of those people. Those people who are associated with all of this negative bullshit that far left wankers use to shut down discourse instead of tackling the actual arguments. And that's not to mention the fear of losing their jobs or getting cancelled, or simply getting pushed away by their friends or their more distant family members. Even if Grummz or others with more access started doing something more proactive, which again I still have no idea what it could be that could actually have any valuable impact, the power of this information and of having people working to discover it and report on it and talk about it, to create discourse online dedicated to it, is still invaluable for what is going on. There's a lot more power in our voices than it seems. In my most recent video, I mentioned how our power to vote with our wallets is compromised because of ESG, governmental grants, and BlackRock, but it's still the best thing that we've got alongside with our voices, because at the end of the day, these activists latch themselves onto the AAA market, and the AAA market might actually just be chaotic and expensive enough that these morons will eventually get tired of burning away hundreds of millions of dollars over and over and over by trying to offset financial flops with even bigger financial flops. So yeah, keep voting with your wallets, keep being vocal, keep thrashing these dogshit games when you see them, keep speaking the truth, keep supporting the good stuff that's out there, and keep questioning every new announcement or bullshit statement from the industry that you see. And in the meantime, if you're learning game development or doing indie development already, keep doing what you're doing too, of course. You may not have the power to quite literally reach into the twisted, corrupted hearts of the AAA industry and affect change on all of this DEI crap from within. You may not have the power to make EA think that perhaps it's not a good fucking idea to put a trans woman who spent the last 10 years making Sims games and who cannot separate the game development from the gender ideology as the director of the next installment of a massive fantasy RPG franchise, but you can still make some good ass indie games or get hired onto smaller studios that are making good games without the weight of like 7 different fucking DEI departments breathing down their necks with diversity quotas, female character design restrictions, screen time division requirements, and all of this other nonsense, which of course helps as well. That's about it for me on this one though, fellas. Thank you very much for watching. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe for more sauce in the future, and yeah, have a good day. I'll see you on the next one.